going on, guys? Welcome back to 100% NUFC. I hope you're all doing really well. So this is the player ratings for the Newcastle United squad for the 2017-2018 Premier League campaign. I'm going to be giving my own opinions on the player ratings for the Newcastle United first team to the reserves, but also you can put yours down below in the comments if you really want to and get involved in the channel. If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to 100% NUFC. I need 15 subscribers to get to 1,300, so if you could do that, that would be amazing. If not, just follow along and enjoy the video. So let's start off with a rating. So it's going to be a ratings of 1 to 10. 1 being not so good, 5 being in between, and 10 being a fantastic season for that individual player. So we're going to start off in goal with Martin Dubravka, player who was just signed in goal from January until the end of the season. He's had a fantastic season for me. You know, he came with, I don't think anybody really knew about him. I mean, I knew a little bit about him, but not too much. He really did hit the ground running. I mean, that game against Manchester United for me will probably live long in his memory. I mean, the way he played, I mean, the way he just came out his box, you know, he was saving shot after shot after shot. He was commanding, you know, from set pieces, from corners, he was jumping, catching balls, and that's what you expect from a goalkeeper. We were just hoping that we'd have a goalkeeper that could talk to the centre-backs and really push them forward, and that's what he was doing, you know, in the 5 months that he's been here. And, you know, you couldn't fault his game in the way he conducts himself on the pitch, you know, the way he's taken to the Newcastle United fans. And I've heard that there's a 4 million buy for him, so why can't we go and buy him for £4 million? That's an absolute steal. I mean, if we don't buy him, you know, we'll live to regret it, because he's better than what we've got at the football club. No disrespect to Elliott and Darlow, but for what you've seen there, you know, he's really going to get better over the course of, you know, the next few years. Now we'll start off in the back four. We'll start off with Jamal Lascelles. I'm giving him a 10 out of 10 for me. Captain, leader, someone who you can look to, someone who is really going to talk. You want somebody who's not scared to say how it is, and that's what he's done. I mean, you only got to look back at the season we got relegated in 2016, the 2015-2016 campaign, the Southampton game, where when Rafa Benitez got the job, we were losing at the time, and, you know, he was giving a few talkings to the players, you know, that were underperforming, and he was only a young lad at the time, and he wasn't scared to speak up. And since then, he's become the captain for the Championship, and you were worried in the Premier League, could he kick on his game? And he's taken that, like, you know, like the Premier League's nothing, and you've seen what he can do, and this is why he's been linked with other clubs. That's why he's been so close to possibly getting in Gareth Southgate's World Cup squad, and that's really is unlucky for the centre backs that are going. And he'll be looking to kick on next season, you know, with Newcastle United, and trying to qualify for the Euro 2020, and hopefully if it's Gareth Southgate or whoever else, you get to look in. But, you know, he's had a season to remember, and he's always putting his body on the line. He's somebody who, from a set piece, he can stick his head in it and put it in the back of the net, most notably against Swansea City in the 1-0 win. So he's definitely somebody who's going to improve his game. He's definitely someone who's going to have a higher value as the season goes on. Now his partner, Florian Lejeune, who was signed at the start of the season, I'm going to have to give him an 8. He hasn't had a 10 out of 10 performance, but he's had a good season in my opinion. At the start of the season he was a bit like that, but that's because he's trying to find his feet in the Premier League. He's new to the league, he's for where he's come from, and for the price that we paid for him, I think he's had a decent season. At the start he's had a couple of injuries, but since the close of the season he's been remarkable. I mean, Jamal Lascelles has been, you know, showing him a few tips and tricks of how to, you know, cope with big, physical, powerful strikers, creative midfielders in the Premier League with, you know, with the better squads and the better clubs that will come up against him. He seems like that no-nonsense centre-back. He's somebody who, again, a bit like Jamal Lascelles, will make a tackle at the right time. He'll put his body on the line, and he's someone who likes to talk as well. I've seen him do that in some of the matches. So, you know, he's really improved his game, and I think if it wasn't for the start of the season, I would have given him a 9. But I think for 8 is a really good prediction rating for Florian Lejeune. Now we're going to start off DeAndre Yedlin, left back. I have to give him a 7 out of 10. He's not been amazing. He did come with massive promise. He has got the pace. He'd just like to get forward, but at times this season, you wonder who he's actually marking and where he is at the pitch at any one time, because for me, he seems like he's out of position sometimes, and it seems like somebody else is doing his job for him. But I can't fault him getting forward. That's what he does, you know, with the pace that he's got. But when it comes to doing his actual job, his actual role, he needs to track back a little bit quicker. Maybe I'm just being a little bit harsh on him, but he really needs to, you know, man mark the players he's being asked to man mark, because at times Rafa Benitez has even said that, you know, he needs to improve his game and he needs to get better. But I'm sure next season he'll improve his game. Next we're going to go with Paul Dummett. I'm going to have to give him an 8 out of 10. You're probably wondering why we're not giving him a 10 out of 10, because he got his contract extension. Well, again, you know, someone who's really kicked on. You know, he's had a good season in the Championship. A bit like Jamal Lascelles, was he going to improve his game in the Premier League? Well, he has. You know, he's proved everybody wrong. he's even been given a contract extension for his hard work this season. But I think for the games that were lost towards the back end of the season, the 4 games in a row, it wasn't just down to him, but everybody was sloppy. And maybe if he kept the same consistency, and maybe he would have picked up more points in the 4 defeats towards the back end of the season before beating Chelsea last game, I would have given him a 9 or a 10. But because of that, he's got a moment where he will not have the best game, but I'm sure that's normal as a footballer. You're going to have a game where you're not really on it 100%, and for that I'm just having to give him an 8. But like Florian, like the rest, he will get better, and I'm sure if he continues to be good for Newcastle, he might even have some possible suitors. Who would have said that a few seasons ago? Now we're going to start off in the midfield, Jonjo Shelvey. Now we all know about Jonjo Shelvey. He is a bit of a hothead, but out of 10 I have to give him an 8. Someone who's had moments this season where he's had a few bad games, a few moments where he's had a bad temper, but he's also had a lot of good games, and he's someone who, he's probably our best creator at the football club, someone who's going to create something from nothing. He can play from the back, from the middle, he likes to spray the ball. You see the Hollywood balls where he play it left or right, and he's not scared to have a go. Okay, maybe he's because he doesn't score a lot of goals, maybe that's the reason why his rating's down. I think he does need to score more goals in his game, but I'm sure next season he'll get better. He's definitely unlucky not to be going to the World Cup with England, because I think he's probably better than half the midfielders that are going there this summer, but I'm sure he'll get ready for Euro 2020, so 8 out of 10 for Jonjo Shelvey. His partner Diome, 8 out of 10. I mean, what a season he's had. I mean, from the start of the season, I would never have given Diome 8. I mean, it was looking very unlikely that Diome would even make the squad. I mean, you'd be lucky if you had the odd game for Newcastle, made the odd 15 minutes, and since January, February time, he's really kicked on. He's looked a lot more big, powerful, physical, and he's someone who likes to make a tackle, and we weren't seeing that from Diome when we first signed him, and this is the Diome that we've seen for Wigan, Hull City, and he's proved his worth on the pitch, and you know, he's had a lot of man of the match performances, and a lot of fans like myself have been blown away by how well he's played this season, and he's definitely somebody who, he needs to kick on his game, he needs to keep that consistency going, you know, don't leave off what was a good season next season, really kick on and show Rafa Benitez that you can cement yourself in that midfield, because like you know with Rafa Benitez, we've got a lot of midfielders at the football club, nobody's place is guaranteed. So we're going to go with Matt Ritchie. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. You could probably say why didn't I give him a 10 out of 10, but I think he's had such a good season. Bearing in mind we're playing him on the right, Ritchie predominantly can play number 10, that is his natural position. At Bournemouth you've seen him that he could play, you know, from the middle, and he can create opportunities, and for me I think he's chipped in quite well this season. You know, to be fair, we don't have any great right mids in the club, and I think for someone who likes to cut in, create an opportunity, make something happen, and the goals that he scored as well, especially the one against Manchester United, he's got that moment of quality. You know, we don't call him magic for nothing, and he's been a great signing from Bournemouth, someone who's really kicked on his game from the Championship. You think, can he do it? I have no doubts that he couldn't for what he did at Bournemouth when they first came up. We all knew he's got quality. Maybe if he played in the number 10, if he'd been given that opportunity, he might have scored more goals, but I'm sure next season he'll get better. He'll look to improve his game. Obviously Scotland aren't in the World Cup, so he'll have that big break to, you know, to rest. And even when he has been rested, he's come back better, he's come back stronger. That's what we expect from him. He's never had a bad attitude, and he's always you know, first to every ball, and that's what you want, someone who's going to give it 110% for the club over the course of the season. Now we're going to move on to Kennedy, who was signed on loan from Chelsea. Again, I'm going to have to give him a 10 out of 10. You know, this was a lad who played for Chelsea on the fringes. We weren't too sure about him. It was a bit of a gamble really getting him on loan until the end of the season. We all knew he's got quality. He's a Brazilian. You know, Brazilian players have got quality. You know, they've got that know-how on the ball. They can unlock a defence. You know, they can take on 2 or 3 players and leave them on the floor, and that's what he's been doing. And you know, he's chipped in with a few goals. You know, he's even assisted, and he's had a really positive attitude, especially towards the fans, and he's had a lot of really good games. He's probably had a couple of bad games, but to be fair to him, you know, for his age and for where he's come from, he's done no harm, and I'm hoping that Rafa Benitez can get a deal done. Maybe he's just get him on loan again, you know, for another season and see what happens then. But obviously it'll be up to Chelsea and what they want to do next season. But I think he's got a future here at Newcastle. You know, he's got a bright future. I think he's someone who can really kick on his game to that next level. And you know, he's going to get regular football at Newcastle. It would make sense in the long run to get Kennedy. Now we're going to start off up front with Perez. 7 out of 10. You're thinking, why giving 7 out of 10? Because he's had such a good end of the season. Well, he wasn't so good at the start of the season. He was making too many mistakes. Yes, he does the dirty work. He does let you get back and make the odd tackle. But for me, he just doesn't score enough goals. You could say, yeah, he scored 10 goals. But for me, I think for his quality, he has got quality, but he's a little bit frustrating at the same time. You don't know what you're going to get about Ayoze Perez. For me, he's done himself justice towards the end of the season with the goals that he's got. But For me, I would look to get rid of him if it wasn't for the goals that he scored, but I would keep him in terms of what he can do. He can add quality, but he needs to show that on a consistent basis. The problem with Perez is he's not consistent. He hasn't had a consistent run up until the back end of the season. He's got to show that throughout the season. If he does that, then we could be higher up the table. But obviously you could blame maybe the service that he's getting, but at times he is too wasteful, and that's why I think he's not always 100% on his game, and that's why I have to give him a 7 out of 10. Dwight Gale, 6. I don't think he's really contributed enough this season. You could blame the service yet again, that he's up front his own most times and balls are getting lumped over the top, but there's been times where he's played with Kennedy and he's put good balls into Dwight Gale and he just can't finish. And for someone who we paid from Crystal Palace, I think it was like £12 million, I don't think he's Premier League quality. I don't think he's good enough for us. I think he needs to, we either need to send him out on loan next season or we need to cash in on him while we can. I do feel sorry for him, but in the Premier League you need to score goals, and that's what you get paid to do. And if you're not going to score enough goals, then you're not good enough up front. And for me, I just don't think he's had the season that he was expecting. He'll probably be looking for one more season, but it's up to Benitez really. But for me, I don't think he's had the season that we would have expected him to have had. He hasn't scored the goals really that we were expected this season as well. So yeah, it's not been a great season for Dwight Gale in my opinion. Now we're going to start off with the reserves. Now Carl Darlow, have to give him a 3. I haven't seen enough of him this season. I don't think he's really a Premier League goalkeeper. He done well in the Championship, mind. I'll give him that. But ever since the Middlesbrough deal broke down in the summer, we've seen nothing of him. For me, he doesn't command the box enough. He doesn't seem to talk enough. I remember that game against Nottingham Forest, or was it Elliot? I can't remember. But anyway, he had a really poor game, and he's not really done enough this season to warrant even a new contract. I think he will probably go at the end of the season. Rob Elliott, again, I have to give him a 4. He hasn't played enough games. Okay, that's probably no fault of his own. He's had a couple of injuries to deal with, and there's nothing you can do about that. But he's somebody who I think Rafa Benitez will look to offload at the end of the season. If not, keep him as a backup. But I don't think next season he'll be playing as many games as he's expecting. So 3 out of 10. A 4 out of 10 would have to be my opinion on that one. Clark at the back, I have to give him a 6. I haven't seen a great deal of him this season, but when he has played, he's played alright. But because of Lejeune and Jamal Lascelles playing so well, he can't really get into the squad. I still think he's a good player, but will Benitez want to look to offload him next season? Well, that's up to him. But I still think he's got the quality, but will he be good enough to play next season? I really don't know. But I do like Kieran Clark. I do think he comes in for a lot of criticism, but because of how well our centre-backs are doing in the back 4, it's just not his fault. He just can't get into the squad. He'll probably be looking for a loan deal or possibly sell him. Then we're going to start off with Hosler, who was signed from Stoke for £5 million. Had to give him a 5. He worked hard at the start of the season. You know, he was scoring goals. He was looking all right for someone who we paid £5 million for Stoke from. But he just doesn't have enough quality for me. He doesn't seem to make enough runs, doesn't score enough goals, and it's been proven towards the end of the season. He's only had the odd 10-15 minutes on the pitch if he's lucky. Game time hasn't been his big favour, and I mean, he's got 1 year left to run in his contract, but that's what £5 million gets you. Yes, he does work hard at times, but he doesn't show enough on the pitch. He seems to spend more time posting on Instagram, working hard on there, than actually delivering on the pitch for Newcastle. So 5 for Hoslu. Murphy, 6. I think he's not really played enough games, but he has got quality. He has missed a couple of sitters. I remember that one against Tottenham at Wembley where he should have scored. But for me, he hasn't had the game time to prove his worth. I do like Murphy. He has come in for a lot of criticism from the fans saying that he's not good enough, but you've got to remember, we paid £12 million for him. We haven't seen the best of Murphy. We probably will next season, I hope so. If not, we're going to have to loan him out, because for me, he's no good sitting on the bench. He's a really good, promising England international winger, and he's got the talent. We all know that. He scored 3 against us, or was it 2 or 3 against us in the Championship, and we all know what he's about. But, you know, I feel sorry for the lad. He has got talent. He just hasn't had enough games to warrant a higher rating. But I think 6 is about fair for Jacob Murphy. Now, in the midfield, Nico Moreno, have to give him a 5. I mean, he came with so much promise. He was doing well at the start of the season. He was only on loan originally, then he signed a new contract, and then it all just fell apart for him. Really, he just wasn't getting any games. Okay, he's had a back injury for most of the season, but he hasn't had enough game times to warrant any more than a 5. But when he has played at the start of the season, he was looking good. I still think he's a good player, but he's had about 5 minutes here or there, just not enough for me to say that he's good or bad. I just think he's been in between. I want to see him next season. I really want to see him get into that midfield. I want to see what he can do, because I still think the lad's got talent. He just hasn't really had the run from Benitez, which obviously is something to do with his injury. If it's a back injury, of course, it's serious, so not looking there so good for the lad. We're hoping that he's going to kick on in the summer and he's going to get better for next season. Isaac Hayden, a free, I haven't seen enough of him. Centre defensive midfielder. I think it's hard for him really. I think he needs a loan deal. I think we need to cash in on him. I don't think he's really going to get in over the likes of, you know, Shelby, Diarme, Moreno. It's going to be tough for the lad. I feel sorry for him. He did well in the championship, but I don't think he's the answer going forward. I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't think it's easy for him to get into the squad with what we've got. Christian Atsu, I have to give a 6. I really thought he would have kicked on from the championship. He had a couple of good games at the start of the season, and after that it went into like substitute appearances since we signed Kennedy, and he just looked a little bit lethargic, which, to be fair, if he's not getting the game time, I don't know, he was getting forward, but when it came to the end product, it was very frustrating because he wasn't getting enough crosses into the box, and you think, oh well, lad, just put it in, give someone a chance. Okay, you could probably bring the forwards that we're not getting it into the box quick enough, but you know, we've got to do better, and he's got to do better. But let's see what happens next season. I have to give him a 6, only for his start of the season performance. Jesus Gomez, free, haven't seen anything of him. He had one good game this season, and since then he's been nowhere to be seen. I think he'll be sold on next season to another club, or he might even retire. I don't know. I think he's at a late age now. He's had a good career, man, don't get us wrong, but we'll have to wait and see. Haidara, he had one good game against West Ham. He scored that goal, I remember. Was it Saibe? Sorry, it might have been Saibe. Got that mixed up. I have to give him a 3. Haven't seen enough of him. He played against Chelsea last game of the season. I think another one who will look to offload at the end of the season for some money. Not being the best signing in the world. Okay, he's had a couple of injuries, but this is what happens when you don't get in the first team. Mankio, 6. For me, he's too suspect. I think he makes too many mistakes. He doesn't do the work that he's supposed to do in his position. When he just gets forward, he doesn't track back enough, and this is the problem that we're having, especially against Watford. We're getting found out time and time again. Okay, he did put the good ball in for Isaac Perez, but I'm not saying it because he signed from Sunderland, but he's just not the quality of the Premier League, and I don't think he's the quality of us. But if he really wants to be in the first team, he's got to improve his game in the summer, otherwise he will get offloaded. I can't see him getting in the first team anytime soon, so 6 out of 10. And lastly, I'm going to go with Chancellor Mbemba. 5, he just hasn't had enough games. For me, I just haven't seen him all season. I like him. I think he's a good player. Another one who I think we're going to have to loan out next season. I wouldn't want to sell him. I do want to see Mbemba. I do like him. But it's been a tough season for the lad, because you look at the likes of Lejeune, Lascelles. It's been tough for him to get in. I mean, even Kieran Clark's struggling to get into the first team as well, and he's promising. So it's tough on the lad, but I do like him. It's really hard to believe why he hasn't been in the team, because I'm sure at the times this season I've been wanting Chancellor Mbemba to play, and yeah, I think a loan deal would suit him perfectly. So that's all my ratings really for the Newcastle team, from the first team to the reserves. If I have missed anybody out, don't forget to put the comments if any missed players down below. I'm sure I'm only human, I'm sure I would have missed something out. Rafa, overall, I'm going to have to give him a 10 out of 10. I think going into the season with the squad that we've got, top 10 finish, who would have predicted a top 10 finish, I said 12th place in predictions. If you want to watch that video, I'll leave a link down below, or there's a box at the end of the video. You can watch my predictions for the teams in the Premier League, from first position to 20th, who was going to win the Premier League, to Europe, to top 10, bottom end of the table. That's all there for you to go and check out in that video. And yeah, I think he's done good with the players that he's had at his disposal, especially the signings. The likes of Kennedy, Dubravka, have really had. Oh, I didn't forget Slimani as well. I have to give him a 1. I don't think he's done good enough for Newcastle, so that's the one I did miss out. And yeah, not the best season for the lad, but yeah, they're my overall predictions. Rafa, 10 out of 10. But yeah, don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe to 100% NUFC. And yeah, how are the lads?